internet, it's day 5 of BookTube-A-Thon. First of all, let's do a little reading update. Last night, I finished Vengeance Road by Aaron Bowman, and I gave it 4 stars. It was pretty solid. I'll kind of go into more detail in my monthly wrap-up, but I enjoyed it, and this was my second book finished, so I'm a little behind for the week, considering it's day 5. But I have started 2 other books today because I'm off today. I have started Once Upon a Time Out of the Past, which is going to be my pick for reading a book outside. It wasn't my original pick for this challenge, but that's what ended up happening because this is my only day where I can really read outside and it's raining off and on. So I started this before it rained and I only got like 4 or 5 pages in when it started raining. But I'm still gonna finish this, hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. So instead I came inside and started Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the illustrated edition, and I'm going to read this entire book in one day for that challenge. I am on page 71, about, I guess, a third of the way through it. Loving this so far. That's where I am on reading. I'm hoping that maybe I can finish both of those today, but we'll see. Now it's time for today's video challenge, which is called Class Reading List. And basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to come up with a course that you would want to teach and what the required reading for that course would be. Now I am not very good at coming up with things for this. I was just not meant to be a teacher. But with all the talk of diversity that's been happening the past several months or so, I think it would be really interesting to take a class on like diverse books and reading own voices books about a variety of different diverse topics. I think that would be really interesting to see how those things are represented by a person who also identifies with whatever that is, be it sexuality, race, what have you. So I came up with 5 books. I would probably put a lot more if I actually taught a class like this, but these are just 5 of the ones that I would include for this list. We also had to incorporate at least 1 book from our BookTube-A-Thon TBR. So I was able to incorporate 2 for this. So I will start with those. The first one on my list is How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake. And this is one that I've already finished for BookTube-A-Thon, but the reason I included it on this list is because the main girl in this book is bisexual, and that is an own voices account of bisexuality, and I absolutely loved this book. I think it would be very interesting to talk about bisexuality from a person who is bisexual and kind of how everything was represented in this book. I think that would be a very interesting discussion. The other book from my BookTube-A-Thon TBR I managed to include was Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin O'Leary Signs. And I included this because it is an own voices account of an LGBTQ person of color. So it's got a couple things going for it. I haven't read this one yet. I don't actually know if I'm going to get to it this week. But nevertheless, with all the awards this book has gotten, I think that this would be a very good book to study in a class setting for this particular topic. Words. Because I didn't want to put just a bunch of YA on this list, even though for the most part, I've read a lot of diverse books that are YA. I also wanted to include Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie because this book focuses on like immigration, and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is actually from Nigeria. I think she's kind of been all over, so I have a pretty good idea that she knows what she's talking about when it comes to this topic. My old college roommate actually read this for one of her classes. I don't remember what the class was, but that was where I first heard about it, and I was like, that's a pretty cover. Maybe I'll read that one day. I also have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and seeing as how it was written by a black woman, I figured this would be a really great book to read in a school setting. I think this would be really interesting to study, especially since it's so relevant to things that are happening at this point in time. I would love to read this book for a class. That would be very interesting. And the last book I have is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. And I included this because of the focus on anxiety. The main character, Molly, has anxiety in this book and she takes medication for it, and she does talk about how that affects her several times, and I know that this is an own voices representation of anxiety, as Becky Albertalli also has anxiety. So I wanted to throw in some kind of mental illness in there, and so I think that this would be a really good one to study for that. It also is diverse in a lot of different ways, but particularly the point of anxiety being the own voices factor here. Let me know down in the comments how you're doing for BookTube-A-Thon. That'll be it for this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow with my next BookTube-A-Thon video. Bye!